Hello and welcome. I'm Teri Kinne with the Hollywood Times, covering culture and arts in our beautiful city of the Angels. And I have two filmmakers, actors with me. Please introduce yourselves, starting with Zoe.
Hi, my name is ZOE TYSON. I'm one of the co-creators, stars, executive producers, and writers of Daddies Boi.
And I'm Louis Rinaldi, and I share those titles as well. I'm also the co-creator, co-writer, and star of Daddies Boi.
Excellent. Glad to have you both. And I just want to acknowledge Jason, who's not here with us today, but will be on
Hmm.
the red carpet this weekend at the Film Fest Slam Fest, which we're so excited to host as a city in Los Angeles. And I hope they stay here. This is their second year in Los Angeles, and we're excited to have them. And the Hollywood Times is covering a lot of it. So I specifically wanted to review this film because it was so fun for me to watch, and I have big hopes for it. So the hopefully the interview will be just friendly and a couple hard questions because it's our my journalistic. I have to do it. So
Thank you for the
just
kind words. We're
Yeah,
really
thank you
excited
so
about it
much.
too.
I want to acknowledge the setting of Los Angeles, which is tough and magical, and I think even just that framework makes for very good storytelling. So, and then we go deeper into kind of the a little bit of the underground of Los Angeles, which is my sweet spot of covering because it's so rich with story. So, I'm wondering where your experience is in that and what's art and what's real? Just a little bit of a backstory, please, and then we'll go into the story of Daddy's Boy.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you put it so well too. I think what you're touching on is some of the root of that initial vision for us of kind of showcasing Los Angeles in that way. The ins, the outs, the glitz and glam, yet the underbelly as well. And I mean, a little bit of a backstory is Zoe and I have been best friends since we were 18. We met in college. We went to DePaul University where we studied acting. So we kind of developed that creative language together. And that was also where we started living together. And so we started living together, and throughout Chicago, and then when we moved to LA, we, as artists and best friends struggling in it together, we picked up a lot of odd jobs in that gig culture. And from nannying to personal assisting to then daddy dating and some sex working. And I think so our experience runs in there deep that we decided to write what we know. And while this is a completely fictionalized world and it's not quite reality, it's Los Angeles, it's not Los Angeles, it's us, it's not us. But I think that we wanted to take it and run with it and tell a kind of magical, fantastical version of this reality and truth that we know so well that yes is about hustle, yes is about sex work, yes is about, living in this metropolis, but it's also about friendship.
Excellent, nice. Zoe, anything to add?
Honestly, you freaking killed that. So I'm trying to think. I really, what stuck out to me, what you said was tough and magical, Terry. And that's exactly,
Hmm.
I think, been so much true to our experience of Los Angeles and also exactly what we wanted to bring, that there are these moments that feel larger than life, but there are also, it's a roller coaster, I think, being out here. And yeah, we both had some experiences. I lost my job at a juice bar when I had just moved here when I turned 25, was really trying to make those ends meet and had a friend who had been in New York who said, I used this website and dated for cash. You just get, money going on these dates. And it was such a hilarious but fascinating and I needed the cash type of situation
Hmm.
that, Louis and I would rope each other into these antics, sometimes posing as each other's Uber drivers
Oh,
and
fun. Yeah, good.
created, this litany of stories that I think even when being my glimpse into this world was really it was so rich immediately with
Hmm.
stories to tell. And I think that after, sharing these anecdotally at dinner parties, et cetera, we started to see, okay, not only does this connect with us as something that really touches on a specific part of humanity and the experience of living in Los Angeles on both sides, but people want to see more of it. And so it started to kind of develop really naturally from something that, yeah, had been a series of pretty zany events.
Excellent. Good. Thank you for sharing the story, the real and the art. I agree that people want to see more of it, and they'll get access to it from the safety of their couch or
Right.
their
Hmm.
handheld device. So thank you for giving us access to that. So who was the creator of this? Is this a collaboration from you two and you brought Jason in?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, so we co-created the series and actually had our first reading back at, was it late 2019 or was it 2020 proper,
Oh,
Louie? I can't
wow.
remember.
I think it actually might have been December 2019.
That is
Oh,
crazy.
and so right before, and we were like, okay, by February, March, we're going to start filming.
We're like, we'll start, and we had such a
Yeah,
limited
for
vantage
you.
point on,
Yeah.
even what that would take. And I wouldn't say put this on the shelf, but continued developing it. Jason was at that very first reading. We created a show for The Fringe. We were nominated for Best Play, very exciting, called Fuck Julie,
I heard
and a
that.
two-person show just with the two of us that we created. And we brought Jason in to direct that. And
Mhm.
after seeing that relationship, which we knew would be positive because he's a wonderful director, but his energy and enthusiasm, and I would say our collaboration as a group of three,
Mhm.
made it really easy that by the time we had fundraised and actually were in the position to shoot Daddy's Boy, we knew he was going to be the perfect person
Totally.
to bring in, make that set feel so vibrant and full and curious. And one of the best things about Jason as a director is he's enormously playful and he's so collaborative.
Mhm.
So in terms of for how us and how we work, which is very fluid and we love to laugh, it was an easy fit. He's brilliant.
Oh,
That's
he's so
good.
great. Yeah, he's such a great collaborator, seconding all of that. And I think also he really knew from the get-go, which was so lovely that he knew, love, and respected it and was like, this is your baby, Zoe and Louie.
Hmm.
Like, this is, I know this is, part you, part not, and this is something that I want to help see you through. And so it was just the perfect person to add into the pot to collaborate with, that he got it from the get-go. We could trust it with him. And especially with Zoe and I wearing so many hats the day of, it was so lovely to have someone you know and trust as a friend, as a director, to kind of like surrender the reins to and be like, okay, all I can do is surrender and show up as an artist. And like someone I know and love and trust is really, helping the ship or helping the train make the stops or.
You
Some form
have
of
that
movement.
energy together and trust. So
Hmm.
that's really important. And I think we sense that in the film. I understand that this is really possibly a pilot for potentially a season and that you're shopping. Is that true?
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, we
Okay.
are. We're in the early stages of having just some distribution talks, and we've always seen it as a series. Like Zoe said, with the dinner party stories, it just felt like not only are we insatiable to tell the story, but it seems like others really want more and more to hear of our real anecdote stories and kind of this really fun arc we've created for these characters. And so we've always seen that a TV series can kind of contain all those multitudes of the story, and we've written the full 30 to 45-minute pilot as well as the whole Bible for the first 3 seasons.
Oh, wow. Good. That was my next question. If you have it
Hmm.
somewhat mapped out.
Yeah. Hmm.
Definitely.
Okay.
We knew pretty early on, especially with the amount of time we had during COVID to really think through and get thoughtful with, okay, is this just a feature? Is this a series? Is this a mini series? And we really can see it living through multiple seasons and have some very exciting ideas of where we want it to go. So we're pretty pumped about that.
Okay, good. Well, when I finished it as a viewer, I'm like, more. So,
Love
I'm so
that.
glad you felt that way.
yeah, that's really great. And it's interesting. Thank you for telling us that it was shelved for a while and it was initially created in 2018. I feel like the timing now is really ripe for it, especially with
Mm,
I think people are more open to it, need it, especially with
mm,
heated rivalry having a very
Mhm.
positive launch.
mm,
And that was a little dicey. So nice to bring some humor in and a little bit lightness, but continue to go towards that non-mainstream stories. So
mhm.
Absolutely. I mean, I think pushing the boundaries is something we've always been interested in doing and kind of finding different ways in, but using humor to bring us
Yeah.
into those spaces. And I think something we were both really sensitive to, aside from the fact that we love to write comedy together, was that so many times these stories that take place in the desire economy have this lens of Law and Order SVU or a lot of darkness to it. And we wanted to showcase something honoring those dark pieces, but still
Hmm.
saying, there can be humor and lightness and joy and depth. These people are not just one thing. Many of my friends in Los Angeles have dipped their toes into every part of the gig economy as they try and make a career for themselves out here, whatever that looks like. And I
Hmm.
think that we're in a place where we're excited, I think, as a country and as a world to see, accept, and embrace different ways of living, showcasing things that may not always be seen in this light. And I think exactly things like heated rivalry, people are so excited about seeing
yeah,
these
Hmm.
queer, authentic stories that still
Yeah.
have that humor and that depth. And I think we're so excited to be a part of this moment. It definitely feels like we're stepping aboard at the right time.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do
I think
too.
the world is ready. And you think you're touching on all of it. And I do think there's something with it that I think it's so specific, but the more specific you get, sometimes it feels like the more universal the message is. And there's something that I think everyone can kind of really dive into and, learn something new, yet also provide some like an escape to laugh. Because I think right now there's so much darkness in the world, and
Oh,
we
indeed.
yeah, we really want to, of course, like Zoe said, touch on that darkness, not ignore it. That underbelly of the city is so prevalent in the story, but also to highlight the empowerment, the humor. Like there's just, being in these situations in real time for us, it was always something to laugh about, like the whole foot part and the candy, like that's based on a completely real story that happened. And it was like, this is just something that I delight in. And while, at first glance, maybe someone might look at it through a lens of a little bit more darkness, a lens of trauma, it's like we wanted to really shine a sparkly light on it and be like, it's also here. It's everywhere you look. It's me, it's you, your friend, it's, the barista you meet. It's not just happening in a dark alley in the 70s on TV,
Let's just envision that this goes to series, because I'm just going to say it will. So in the series, because the pilot is light and fun, and the creator's mission statement says that we wanted to not shed a light only on the darkness and the legal aspect and things like that, and we wanted to laugh and show lightness. So with that, during the series and with this, I'm going to say life and lifestyle as we know, and I do have experience, is like so two things I want you to comment on. Like, are we going to touch on safety? You mentioned you'd pose as each other's Uber drivers, and sometimes we need a buddy system if we're going into these unknown places. And then also, there are times when you laugh, and then there's times when you are self-reflective and you have a moment alone and you're like, OMG, like, what if my grandma, and I say this from experience. And so just asking, I know in real life, but for the through line of the series, are we going to experience those up and down with just a little flash of like reality that like, maybe I'm glad I didn't go that route, the viewer might think, but might empathize, or are we going to keep it light and polite and fun?
No, that's a great question. It will continue to be a roller coaster. I think in the pilot, you get just a short glimpse of them there in the alley, having that moment of reflection and grounding. And of course, not exactly just like that, but you will see many moments throughout the series that are absolutely touching on safety, which you mentioned first, safety, danger. I think elements of that in areas both in the desire economy and outside of that. We're going to see what that can look like in a lot of different areas of gig and hustle culture.
Okay.
And also, I think that ultimately the humanity is what's driving with this piece. We want it to be fun and, feel escapist, but I think we also, especially where we're at as millennials, wanted to create something that speaks to the time we're in now,
That's great.
And I think that is a time that we're all seeking that joy, but we're seeking it because what's surrounding it is not inherently joyful. And I think that we will definitely be touching down at many moments to make sure that we are creating something that feels relevant to the moment and also can provide that escapism and that fun that can make it a three-dimensional project.
Yeah, I mean, even to touch on safety without giving too much away, I think it's episode 2 or 3. There's a moment totally based on reality as well, a conversation about Ozzy, my character, is going on a new date very late at night at a closed down bead store. But the conversation is, should I bring a knife? Should I bring this butter knife? Do we have a taser? A whole kind of, there's a lot of fun chaos. As one of our writing teachers we worked with has said, Zoe and I really know how to hop on the crazy train. And so the series really dips into that. There's also touching on some mob adjacent money laundering. There's a whole kind of the gig culture of being a personal assistant and how personal you get into those family lives.
Oh, yeah, isn't that the truth?
Yeah, and how vulnerable that situation is, and how safety or your own personal life comes up as well in those situations. And so we touch on kind of all of that. But as Zoe said, always trying to lead with the humor, but even more than the humor, I think the love between these people and the community found in the space, because that's,
Okay.
I think, the foundation of all of it.
Yeah, good. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Turning the spotlight on the client in the clients as we go forward, which is fun because that's a whole different species that we like to study and is also us in Los Angeles and the world, because it is hard out there. It's hard out there to connect with people and to ask for what you want and need and get some depth in a relationship quickly, which sometimes can only be through intimacy. So as we go forward in the series, and I hope we will, are we going to get a glimpse in depth into some of these clients?
Both, right,
Pilot.
Lou? Yeah, we're going to see some really in-depth viewpoints of some of these folks, and then other people will be around for an episode or two. So it's going to be a real blend of, I think, true to that world and those interactions. There are long-standing relationships that grow and shift with you, and there are the epitome of the one-night stand or the single date or the one moment. So we're going to see a real blend there.
Okay.
Yeah, a mixed bag. And I think especially the ones featured in the pilot,
Yes.
they have they're really woven into some of the arc in some really exciting ways that we can't give away, but there are some surprises with them.
Okay, good. The gentleman at the bar with the yeah, I
On
know.
the top,
Yes.
dainty
Sleeves
daddy.
rolled up. I mean, there's something really endearing about him. He's just
I
a mess
know.
and socially inept, but
A wonderful
her-
actor. He's absolutely brilliant.
and Zoe, your client, is just so patient and positive.
No.
Trying to be.
Yes, trying to be right. And Louie, your character, I'm really appreciating the outfits, so I look forward to more of them.
Oh, thank you. We've got those up our sleeves, especially no
Yeah.
plan for Slamdance. We've just been talking outfits.
Let us know in the Slamdance Festival, when are you going to be there, and when is your show going to show?
We are screening both tomorrow and Saturday. Tomorrow at 9:15 p.m. at the Sunset Landmark, and then Saturday 5:15, same location. We are sold out for both, which is incredibly exciting.
Oh,
Yeah,
good
really
to hear
exciting, but unfortunately people do want to see it. Slamdance does have the virtual program, so
Yes.
people can tune on in there, and then we do have some exciting festivals coming up. Some we can announce and some we can't, but we will be showing in some cool places very shortly.
Okay, good to hear. And then if we want to stay connected with you each and your developments going forward, how can we do that?
Well, we have the Daddies Boi website is
Okay.
daddiesboifilm.com. The Instagram is daddiesboi_, and it is spelt a little weird. It's intentional, but
Yes.
DADDIESBOI. Oh, and we also have our production company that we formed together called Stacking Doll Productions, and that's stackingdollproductions.com.
Signing off, anything else you'd like to say or leave our readers and viewers with?
Just that this is a pleasure. It's been so much fun to get to really start to speak to people who have seen this and get reflective about the content and also looking ahead. And so feeling really excited about where this is headed, and feeling the response from journalists like yourself has been incredibly heartwarming and uplifting. And so just feeling really grateful for your time today and getting to chat about Daddies Boi.
Yeah, all of that. I want to say thank you again for the thoughtful questions, for sharing your own experience and reflecting it back. It really, the specificity too of what you asked, you can really feel the intention and all the, the real care there. So thank you. And just sitting down to talk with us, it really means a lot.
Good. Thank you. Louie, Zoe, appreciate your time too. And I'll see you on the red carpet or in the cinema this weekend.
Wonderful.
Yay,
Sounds
can't
All the
good.
best to you.
We'll see you
Bye,
soon.
Teri.